So besides the normal polygon modeling or box modeling techniques, Cinema 4D recently just added sculpting. So let's just take a real brief look at the sculpting to see how you set it up and how you work with it. Because it's kind of a really fun way to model stuff if you think polygon modeling is kind of boring. So if you go up here into your layouts, again, you're not going to have a bunch of these. These are my custom messes. But if you go down here to sculpting, we're now in the sculpting layout, which this is all set up for us to sculpt. So let's go ahead and make a sphere, and let's make it editable. So once we made it editable, now you can see we have all these tools. These are our sculpting tools that showed up. So the way you use sculpting, there's just a couple little basics to know, is that you have brushes, and your brushes will affect the model. So let's go ahead and grab this grab brush. And sculpting is really kind of what it sounds like. So the cool thing about sculpting is it really is what you see is what you get modeling. Like if you can do it to your model, then you get the model that you want. And you can try these different tools, see what they do. The smooth tool will smooth things out if you screw them up. And just go through these different ones. And right now, something you're going to be doing a lot when you're sculpting is that you can see how this looks really rough. So we want to subdivide it. So like with that subdivision surfaces you learned about earlier that subdivided it for you, there's a subdivide command here. So when we click this, we can click it again. It's going to create more and more polygons to make this smoother and smoother. We can do that again. So now it's even cleaner. And if your viewport or what you're doing, what you're sculpting isn't symmetrical, the way you control that in these brushes, they have a symmetry field. And right now I'm using XYZ or the YZ symmetry, so it's going to be symmetrical on that plane. So, and then you can click link symmetry and it'll try to link the symmetry with all the different brushes, but if they're not working right, you can go here to turn it off and on. So, and you don't have to use XZ, you could use these different types. So this will do the top and bottom. You can do all of them if you want, but that's kind of wacky. But whatever gets you to where you want to go, that's what you would use. But normally you're using the YZ. You can even do radial, which will go around. Like if you can see it going around the model. So it's going all the way around, kind of like that loop selection tool that I showed you earlier. So yeah, that's the basics of sculpting. You have these different brushes that do different things. They pretty much do what they say. You have brush settings, which you can change. You have masks. So the way these work is that you paint areas, and whatever is painted with this mask, it's black, you won't be able to sculpt on. It'll work around it. So you can do this to isolate sections you don't want to work on, or you can see, and it does symmetry with the mask too. And you can invert the mask, so now it'll only affect these areas and not those, and you can clear your mask. And then when you're done, you have two options. You can keep it live as this special sculpt object, which that's what this tag tells you, that it's a sculpt object. Or you can bake them or export them if you would want to do other things to the actual sculpted. So you can keep it as one of these special sculpted objects, which if you're not going to try to rig this and animate it as a character, you can keep it as this object. Or there's also other functions to bake it and do things, but that would be a specialized sculpting tutorial. I just wanted to show you how to get started making models. Because right now when you first start making models, you don't want to worry about rigging them up or all this other advanced stuff. You just want to kind of get it down to see if you can make some stuff out of your imagination and see how close you can get it. So you can try using the sculpting tools, the polygon tools. See, this is what happens when we turn off the sculpting. Let me go into the regular mode. It's the magic of this object that allows it to look like this. But just try to model some things and don't worry about animating them or whatever. Just try to make some basic stuff and get some interesting looking things using these tools.